This is the new Volkswagen Tiguan and we're driving it for the first time on UK roads. I've got the car for a short amount of time, so this is a rapid deep dive. Let's go.
The all-new Tiguan has a big problem because it faces a longer list of brilliant rivals than any of its predecessors. But now, it looks quite a lot less unique and way less interesting than the 2016 model. But crucially, this new car, which starts from just over 34 grand, does have some pretty big tricks up its sleeve, and it could actually leave those rivals looking a bit OTT. Let me explain.
Now, obviously, we've seen this car before, and if you want to see the design in more detail, watch the video on screen now. But I can give you a quick run through of the look. It looks a bit bland. I'm not going to lie, very bland. In fact, in this color in particular as well, I do like the shade of color in itself, but with these smaller wheels, because this is the Life model, so it's a sensible rather than sporty one, well, yeah, I don't think you're going to be buying this because of the look. I quite like the light bar. That's a bit sci-fi-esque, but everyone's kind of doing that, and this one is one of the least interesting ways of doing it. That said, for buyers of this car who typically do like sensibleness, well, there you have it, sensible. Now, while the exterior design is definitely very different, what matters in this car is what's inside, because this is where the biggest upgrades and changes come. Now, the obvious one is the big screen in the middle here, which, yeah, it gets those annoying slidey controls, but they are now illuminated at night, which should have been the case first time around. But anyway, at least they're illuminated, but they are still a little bit annoying. Volkswagen has made tweaks to the way this works, as you can see. So it's a little bit more sensitive, which actually makes it easier to use, but it's still a relatively annoying system in terms of climate control. But the actual infotainment system, and this is Apple CarPlay, which works wirelessly just like Android Auto, well, the infotainment system with its built-in phone connectivity is really, really good. And honestly, I mean that. It's not my favorite one. I think aesthetically it's nice, but it's not the best. But actually, when you're using the system, it works fine. And there are shortcuts to things, so that's good. And also, I like the fact that you've got this knob down here. No laughing in the back. This is not only your volume knob, so you can use it like that. So that means you've got your volume up here, you've got a volume on the steering wheel, and then you've got a volume knob down here, this one being obviously the most tactile. But if you click it down, it also becomes your drive mode changer. So that's quite cool, it's quite tactile. I mean, sort of the stuff you've been seeing in Land Rovers, for example, but it's nice they brought it to this sensible car. You've also got this big screen here. In fact, this whole section is a massive slab, as you can see. And the big screen here, nice and clear, very Volkswagen in the fact that it's got loads of information, nicely illustrated. It is, again, a little bit boring, but come on, it does the job perfectly.
And really, sensible is what this car is about. Although, it could get a bit risque when the Tiguan gains ChatGPT voice control tech later this year.
I've set the driving profile to sport.
It'll be rolled out automatically and over the air, giving you more hands-free control of the car's features and potentially a bit more fun.
As for the fit and finish, this is a Life model, so it's not the top grade car, hence why we have these fabric seats. But I have to say, on the dash, it's nice. This is a lot of slab. When I first got in the car, I was like, that's a lot of vertical black slab, but it is quite nice. The way they've done it is nicer than, say, the updated Toyota GR Yaris, for example, which feels a bit like an afterthought, albeit with good ergonomics. But this is actually quite a nice design, nice texture, and of course, it will be different across different models.
Go for the live trim or above, and you'll discover the Tiguan's ambient lighting party trick, with 30 colours to choose from for a bit of fun with your sensible. You're not short on storage space either, with a mini glove box to the right of the wheel, wide door pockets that align with carpet to reduce rattling, and also plenty of space to rest phones, including a shelf here, as well as space underneath where you'll get wireless charging in higher trim Tiguans, to go with a pair of standard fit USB ports. Then there's a pair of cup holders that can be removed to create even more room under the armrest, where you'll find a 12-volt port. How old school.
Oh, and this is so typically Volkswagen that when I lift this up, you even got little coin storage bits down there, and I guess this will be a card storer down here as well. So nice and nifty. Oh yeah, and if you look up here, you'll also spot got your storage up here. Now this obviously is for sunglasses, but I suppose you could put other stuff in there as well. Practical front end. As for the back seats, there is a lot of room. In fact, this is one of the biggest improvements in this car because of this new platform. It means I have loads and loads of legroom. I mean, I'm just under 6 foot, and dare I say it, I can almost stretch my legs out all the way, despite the driver's seat being sat as low as it can go, how I like it. And there's just tons and tons of space around me. Now, there is a central tunnel because unlike, for example, electric cars these days, which typically have flat floors, this obviously has a tunnel through here. So it's slightly compromised for your middle passenger, but the seats themselves are very comfortable, and I've got acres of headroom above me here. In fact, you can see it if you look in the mirror there. So I've got a lot of room. And then this seat over here in the middle also has an armrest here, so that's quite handy. No cup holders here, and you might think, oh no, but you simply pull out this flap and there they are. So what it actually means is you can still rest your arm on here. Normally, of course, when you've got cup holders here, you can't put your hand down here anymore, but now you can. And there are your cup holders, which fold down like that. And that says book, not because you need a book to understand how to use this, but it's because this is where you can rest a book, or let's be honest, an iPad or an iPhone or a smartphone, whatever. Something electronic anyway.
Of course, you also get a pair of USB-C ports, your own heater controls, and a trio of pockets in the back seats. Plus, the ISOFIX bar couldn't be any easier to reach. How very sensible.
Right, as for the boot, now if I pop open this one has a manual tailgate, but you will of course get automatic in higher spec models. It's a lot of space here, really a lot of room. You could easily get 2 family-sized suitcases in there, I reckon, stacked upright. You might have to take the parcel shelf off, but very usable boot space. Lots of little bits down here. This one has nets, it's got nets to put in there, not currently used on this brand new car, but storage room down there. Look, you've got storage up there. No storage up there, and then in here you have your tools and stuff like that. So there's a pretty good amount of usable room and lots of hooks I spot as well. So not only is that obviously for your netting, but also if you wanted to hook other stuff in, that's great. Down here, we don't have a spare wheel in this car. You probably don't in any UK cars typically these days because it's all tyre repair kits, but that does clear up a lot of room under here, which is quite deep, but more importantly, it goes back all the way as well. So that's very nifty. And you'll have spotted, I suspect, these handles here, which at the pull of them, fold down the seats ahead. Now they go down in 2 halves. You'll notice there's a ski hatch in the middle as well there. So you can fold those down in 2 halves. And that means that it's an almost flat level of storage. If that goes all the way down, then you've got a really long boot there. This is a proper functional SUV. Not surprising given that it's bigger than the old one. Now behind the wheel, as I drive through this absolutely stunning part of the Cotswolds, sorry about the weather, classic Britain, but I can tell you straight off, this new car, it feels really refined. It's a very nice place to sit. The ride is good. It's not the most cushioned ride, and we don't have the adaptive adjustable suspension in this car, but it's a well-judged ride. And now with this 1.5 litre turbocharged engine, I can demonstrate here actually that it is pretty nippy. It definitely picks up and gets the car moving, no problems whatsoever. And the automatic gearbox in this car, I'm pointing down there as if there's a gear lever, it's up here. Well, it's a nice quick shifting box, and the car just feels nice and effortless no matter your driving scenario. It also rolls pretty smoothly. There are some bumps and things that will catch it out. Let's go over this cat size here. Yeah, you can feel the thud come through there, but actually generally the pitter-patter's good over the bumps. It deals with them. I'm gonna click down into, if I can get it, there you go, into sport, get the gearbox, shift down a couple of gears, put my foot down, and you'll see that gets to the speed limit pretty easily, doesn't it? It's not a thump you in the back acceleration, but it is definitely a smooth and quite effortless delivery of power. So big tick there.
Handling feels appropriately sensible too, as the Tiguan steers confidently even to sharp inputs at the wheel, and yes, while there's a bit of body roll to confirm this is not a sports SUV, the grip is very good, even when the weather is this pants. Still, if you'd prefer to let the car take some of the load, the adaptive cruise control works well, and you even get a steering assist function that lightens your load at the helm.
I've set it just over 50 miles an hour there, and I can take my feet off the pedals, and even if I want to rest my hands, well, then the steering does actually provide you a small amount of resistance. I'll try and loosen my grip there a little bit. You can actually see the wheel is actually turning the car. Now, it's not the best system, I have to say, and of course, after a few seconds, it demands that you put more weight onto the wheel. So this is no way a hands-off scenario. This is just it reduces the effort load scenario. It's not the best one. Some out there now will keep the car dead center in the lane, and you really don't have to do any thinking. Whereas this one, you still do have to give it minor corrections now and then.
Even when you're in full, unassisted control, the steering is nice and light, the brakes are responsive, and the car shrinks around you.
This is a good test of ride, this road, because it's really bumpy, and I mean, if you go over here, there's some little cracks in the road, and yeah, the car's jiggling a little bit. I think if you want the ultimate ride comfort, naturally, you're gonna have to go for the DCC option, the dynamic chassis control, which means when you change the drive modes, you can also make the suspension softer. I would definitely recommend that for British buyers. I don't need to explain why, just look at the roads. And even though it is fairly pricey to have that box ticked, I mean, it's absolutely worth it.
Handily, you won't have to pay any extra for the reversing camera or the front and rear sensors, which combined with the door mirrors help to make parking this bigger than ever Tiguan a doddle. Opt for the live model we have here or above, And you'll also get Park Assist Plus to help you steer into and out of tighter parking spaces.
So there's our quick drive of the new Tiguan. It is very sensible, very functional, definitely practical and a bit boring. But that's pretty much what these cars are best at being. So let us know, do you think this is the one to go for in the class? If not, well, maybe you should check out this video up here.